Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Unlocking Greatness podcast with Zenja Glass. Feel free to call me Z. I have absolutely nothing written, nothing planned out other than to have a talk with you all about grief and guilt. The other day, really, to be honest, the last couple of weeks, I've been in a battle, and I did not expect this battle to happen. Many of you are aware I lost my son several months ago. And out of the blue, I can't quite explain it, but there's like this wave of emotions that began to come over me. And I began to feel guilty for wishing I'd done this or I'd done that, or maybe if I would have, I don't know, taken him to a different doctor, or maybe if I would have, did this or did that, or but some people may not relate to this because, and God knows, I know I did everything that I could do to save my son. That I know. Anyone that knows me know that I was there, through it all. But I did not expect a wave of guilt to come up on me, thinking through almost every situation that went on and just questioning. I wonder if I would have, gotten him to the hospital just a couple minutes faster, if I would have, maybe taken him out of state and taken him to this other doctor, or if I would have, and you just start thinking through things that, gosh, if I just would have done this, maybe this person would have survived. And a lot of times it just doesn't line up with the logical. The logical is, if his doctors were sitting before me, they would say, Z, you were a super mom. You and your husband, and you guys did everything that any parents could do, and would say, and I don't want to go through details because I try to keep some things private, but they would just make it very clear that unfortunately his bone marrow, the things he went through with his stem cells, that it just didn't take. And I know that they would just say to me, Z, there was nothing else that could be done. But if anyone's lost someone close to them, and this is why I'm sharing this, because everything I go through, I know God has showed me over and over and over again, every single thing that you go through, you've gone through it for a reason, and you're going to help other people. God put in my heart, you got to talk about guilt. You got to talk about grief. Because I just was unaware that during the grieving process, there is a stage that you can go through. Let me just speak for me, because I am not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a professional counselor, none of that. Let me just speak for me, because nobody can argue with what I felt. I didn't know that guilt was a cousin to grief, and that as a part of my grieving process, that guilt would sneak in the back door and just interrupt my daily thoughts of just wondering, what more could I have done so that he can still be with me? I know I'm not the only person that's gone through it. Here's why I'm choosing to share this, because I really have not talked about this with anyone other than one or two people. I think because we love so deeply, when we've lost a loved one, whether it's a child in my case, or a sibling, a parent, a friend, when we're going through a stage of grieving, and I feel like I've just kind of been up and down with it. Some weeks I'm fine, and or some days I should say, and some days literally every night I'll just cry before I go to bed thinking about my child. And I've been told that that's normal, I actually spoke to a grief counselor, but I won't go into that. I just didn't expect that it would come on me in such a wave out of the blue. I think it happened about maybe 2 weeks ago. And you notice I didn't do another podcast in that time. I remember laying in the bed, and then all of a sudden I just felt this wave of, I don't even know what you want to call it, but just, I felt it in my chest. I felt it in my neck. I literally just felt sore, my whole body out of the blue. And I literally just felt this wave of, maybe there's something I was supposed to do or I could have done to keep him alive. Oh my gosh, did I miss something? Like, is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that and then I just started going through everything, all of the things that, we had to do to take care of him, just to make sure that I didn't make any mistakes with anything. And I didn't, and I went through everything over and over and over again. I even had a friend of mine go through everything with me for a couple of days, just like, is there anything that was missed? She's like, Z, no, everything was done right. There's nothing that was off. So I got up this past weekend, Saturday morning. I got up very early and I went to the lake, to the very lake where I had my last walk with him, where I drove him, I should say, to the forest preserve. And I sat there the entire day because, and here's where I'm going with this. I'm sorry this is such a long introduction, but you guys know I'm just talking to you from my heart. I had to beg God to rescue me. And I refused to leave that lake without there being a resolve in my spirit that I'm letting it go. That I know I did my best. And that it was simply his time. And God took him home. And it did not happen overnight. It took me several days to get to that point of getting to the lake on Saturday morning. And from that morning, when I was at the lake, I've spent probably about 2 hours speaking with a dear friend of mine. You all know her. I had her as a guest on the show, Virginia Leffler, which I'm having her back, by the way. She's done with her book on meditation. This woman is so beyond phenomenal. But she just happens to be available to talk to me. So Saturday morning, we talked for about 2 hours, and she was just amazing. That's another subject. But anyway, and of course, I spoke with my sister, who is an amazing woman of God. We talked for almost 2 hours because I literally was in my car just bawling and just replaying the tapes over and over of everything that happened and questioning, like, I wonder, could I have done this? Did I miss something? Did I, I just literally went through this stage. And finally, when I started crying out to God to rescue me, I said, God, first of all, where is this coming from? It's not like he just passed away the other day, even though it feels like that at times, just so you all know. But when I realized that this is a stage that some people go through in grief. In fact, a friend of mine, she said, Z, some people, it takes them years to get to what you're going through now. It's not even been a year and you're going through it. Like, that's great that you're going through it now. And I thought, okay, well, that's weird. But she just said it's natural to go through a stage of feeling guilty. And anyway, I want to get to the point, and hopefully this is going to help somebody. I refused to leave that lake without making a decision of letting go. And when I say letting go, I mean letting go of the guilt that was trying to cling to me and trying to stop me. Because I can't go back and change anything in the past, even though there was nothing at all I could think of that I really could have done differently, to be quite honest. But I had to let go of the maybes and what if I would have done this, and maybe I should have done this, or, I had to literally, if you guys would have seen me, you probably would have been like, what in the world? Because I was just at the lake and I'm just staring at God. I'm just staring up in the sky and I'm just saying, God, please rescue me. Please rescue me. And when I say rescue me, I'm almost meaning like, and this is going to sound weird, I'm almost meaning like rescue me from myself. Rescue me from the what ifs, Anyone who's lost someone close to them, I bet you there's people that understand where I'm coming from. I know there's got to be someone out here that gets it. Where something has happened, maybe you didn't even lose the person, but a situation happened, and you're just in that mode of, oh gosh, what if I just would have been there? What if I just would have done this? Or what if I didn't do this? What I found, or what I feel, and this is why I know God wanted me to go online and share this. I believe, this is just me, I'm not a professional in this field, it is a trick. It is a trick from, in my opinion, it is a trick from the enemy. This is in my opinion, for all the professional counselors out there listening, to keep me entrapped and sort of stuck. Because when I was in that mode for a while, I wasn't even really able to think straight. I really wasn't able to concentrate at work like I normally would. My creativity was completely gone. As you all know, I'm finishing writing up my book, and I literally couldn't think of a single thing. Like, I can't explain it, but all my creativity was just out the window. Because anytime I had that little bit of, I guess you can call it downtime, I would automatically go into the mode of just, first of all, thinking about him, and then walking through the scenario over and over and over again. Not scenario as in one, but all of the scenarios, and just thinking through at any point, what could I have done differently? And I'm just so grateful to God that he showed me how to give it to him and how to let it go. I did a podcast a while back. I don't know which episode it was, the number, but it's called Let Go or Let It Go. You guys may want to go back and listen to that one. So consider this as sort of a segue from that. I want to encourage you all, whoever understands what I'm going through, to please, number one, get professional help and counseling if you feel that's what you need, because I am absolutely not trying to take the place of a professional. I just want to make that extremely clear. But from a spiritual point of view, I just want to encourage you to spend some time with God and to put it in his hands. I had to literally walk through all the situations and everything that what if I would have done this? What if I would have, I had to walk through all of that and go through that process. This is what I had to do. And I had to cry out to God and spend hours upon hours upon hours, including the entire day Saturday from morning until late into the evening. I was there. The only time I left the lake, I think, was to go to the bathroom, something, and came right back. But I had to spend that time because I was going through a process of releasing and letting go. I had to do it. I had to let go. And I'll share something that I wasn't planning on sharing at all. This is very, very personal. I haven't even shared this with my husband, my kids, anyone. When I got back home, I went into his room and I knelt down at his bed. And I said, "Son, it's time to rest. It's time to rest." I said, "You need to rest now." And I said, "And Mama needs to rest." I said, "Mama needs to rest." I said, "Mama loves you so much. And I know I'll see you one day again. But Mama's got to let go of this so that Mama can live and help other people as well." And I don't mean let go of the memories or the love of my son. You guys know that. But I just meant let go of the guilt that comes along with grieving, in terms of I got to carry this with me every day, that maybe perhaps there's something I could have done. I know that in everything that I did, I made the best decisions in the moment that I knew to do. And I just got a feeling that there are some people out there who are walking around holding a lot of guilt. A lot of guilt. And maybe it didn't involve a death. Maybe it involved something happened. Maybe it could have even involved something you did. A lot of guilt. And I'm just here to tell you that that guilt can grip you and hold you as hostage and steal away not only your creativity, but everything that God has lined up for you, because you're keeping yourself caged. And I can only speak for myself, because for about 2 or so weeks, I think it was about 2 weeks total that I went through this, where it was just like almost paralyzing. If you saw me, I still was doing my thing and going to work and saying the thing. But if you really saw me, and I don't think I recorded during that time, you would have seen that I was just really struggling. It's as if there was life missing from my eyes, because there was nothing that I can do now when it's already, everything's been done. So I'm praying that someone gets this. And I'm praying that whoever's listening to this podcast or watching on my YouTube channel or wherever, because this podcast is kind of streaming everywhere now, I'm praying that you forgive yourself. If there's anything you have done, that you forgive yourself. If there's anything you think, man, maybe I should have, and if I would have done this, like in my case, I was like, man, maybe if I would have taken him, halfway across the states to this other hospital, I'm just praying that you forgive yourself, and I'm praying that you release and let go. And that you say to yourself, I did the very best that I knew to do at the time. I literally had to have a conversation with guilt. I literally had to I looked at it as being a cousin to grief, if that makes any sense at all. You guys know I'm weird how I imagine things and how I am. I'm just like that. So when I think of grief, I think of guilt almost being a cousin that's trying to accompany him and come with him. And it's been maybe 2 or 3 situations, not many, maybe 2 or 3 since Saturday, where I'm tempted to have those thoughts again, like, oh, maybe is there anything I can? And then I go, oh, no, you can't come through that door anymore. I've let go. You don't have the right to come through that door anymore. I don't open that door anymore. I've already processed that. I've spent time with God. I know I gave and did my very best. That is a fact. And I know that there was nothing I could have done to prevent this. And I've given it over to God. So you don't get to come through that door anymore because I've let go. I had the best sleep of my life following Saturday. And since then, done just far, far better. I feel a skip in my spirit. I feel all of a sudden my creativity is back. I feel that I have a special connection with God, a special connection with my son. I'm not saying I've arrived, and who knows where I'll be at weeks or months from now and what I'll be saying on camera, because I don't know how this cycle goes. I don't know. I'm sure professionals know how this goes. I don't know if this is a wave that'll try to come and go. All I can tell you is the wave that I'm on right now, little old me, the little wave I'm on now, is I've let go, and I'm not allowing guilt to accompany me as I go through my grieving process. I know many of you have the biggest hearts in the world. And you've done your best. And you may say, well, Z, not quite. There are some things I could have done differently. Okay. At the time, you did what you knew to do. At the time, you did your best. This is called life. We're going to have our ups and downs. We're going to lose people. That's one of the things I love about talking with my sister, because she's very, black and white with things, She's like, baby, this is life. We ain't supposed to be here forever. We all are going to go one day. We all at some point are going to be leaving. Some sooner than others. So in the meantime, what I'm asking God to do is to continue to rescue me, rescue you, rescue our families, rescue us through whatever grieving process we may be going through, and to use me. I was not planning on talking about this on camera. But God, as he always does with me, so gently put in my heart, Z, there's other people out there who have been held down by guilt for a long time, and it's choking them. And you got to get this message out there. You've got to let them know that they got to let go, because it's robbing them of their life. And I know if I experienced that for about a good 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, to the point where I laid down in bed and all of a sudden I just felt it encroaching up on me, just this guilt wave out of nowhere of, what if you would have done this? What if you would have done this? And are you sure you did? Just out of nowhere. And literally I was just almost in, like, I don't even want to use the word a panic, because it wasn't like, well, I don't know, maybe professionals would say it was a panic attack, but I don't think I've ever had a panic attack, but maybe that's what it looks like. I don't know. But I just know that I just felt frozen, and I felt pressure, and I felt a tremendous wave of guilt come over me out of nowhere. And I felt this wave of emotions of, oh my God, I wonder if I would have done this, or if I would have took him here, or if we didn't take him to the transplant center, or if we just, all of it was just coming in my head. And I had to fight. I had to listen to God. I had to pray, and I had to go through the process that I needed to go through in order to be able to just turn it all over to God and let it go. I remember at the lake, and I wasn't even going to share about this, when God finally rescued me, that's what I call it, and really gave me the relief in knowing, I was taking him home. I was taking him home. I was taking him home. That's what God kept putting in my spirit. I remember putting my hand on my window. The windows were rolled up, and I literally just put my hand on the window, and it was as if I felt in my spirit that my son was on the other side of the door with his hand on the window as well. I know that's personal to share. I wasn't going to even go into that. And I just put my hand up there, and I said, son, I love you, but Mama's letting go. Mama's got to live. Mama's got to help other people right now. And so I went through that process, and I just told you about when I went home and how I sat in his room. And I haven't told anyone that part. I'm just letting you guys know. So if some of my family watch this, which they don't even listen to my podcast, that's what's so funny. None of them, from name somebody, at least the people that are the closest to me, they don't even listen. But if they should listen to it, they'll be surprised to hear that. But that's what I did. And so, again, I'm not saying I've arrived. I'm just letting you know that right now, where God has me, I feel a peace in my heart. I feel a resolve. And anytime I'm tempted to even feel guilty as I'm still going through my grieving process, I literally mentally in my mind said, no, that door's closed. You can't enter anymore. I've let go. I've turned that over to God. You don't have a right to come up on me anymore. So I pray this helps you guys. I pray this podcast even made sense, because I'm just sitting on here talking. I don't know where God is taking me with all of this. I just find it very interesting that he's got me getting on a camera and just talking into a camera and sharing all of my stuff. But to God be the glory. If he wants me to be a fool for him, then I'll be a fool for him. I just pray that it helps someone. And so I'm walking in obedience. And I pray that if you're experiencing any of that to any degree, it doesn't have to be a death. It could be a situation that happened. Whatever it is, I'm praying that you put that before God. You surrender. And you let it go so that you can live. All right? I love you all. This is Z with Unlocking Greatness Podcast. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. This is Z with Unlocking Greatness Podcast. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification button. Love you all. Bye-bye.